Welcome. In front of me is a Samsung Galaxy M30s, and today I'll show you a couple tweaks and tricks that you can do on this device. So we're going to begin with the gesture navigation, which is well, not as good as on the newer devices, but still better than having the visible buttons. I'm particularly not a fan of having those buttons there. So you can actually change them by going into the settings, and then under the display you will find a setting called navigation bar. There we go. And you can change it from navigation buttons to full screen gestures, which is kind of misleading how it sounds, because as you can see, you have basically, instead of the buttons, you have bars that you need to swipe. I mean, they're less visible and a little bit more aesthetically clean, but they're still there, functioning almost the exact same way as the buttons. So yeah, but if you go out, everything else on the home screen also gets shifted down, so it gives you a little bit more space and just makes the device, in my opinion, look a little bit more clean. So the second thing that I'm going to go into is the dark mode, which is also under the display setting. And well, this one is fairly simple and self-explanatory. Here it's called night mode, and it just changes everything into, well, the dark mode. So that also includes notifications, settings, and some apps. Now keep in mind, not all the apps will be supported. So all the ones that come with the device will, but then it looks like Chrome is as well, or not Chrome, but Play Store. But then I'm pretty sure that apps that you download from the Play Store will probably not be supported as long as they don't have dark mode built into them. So keep that in mind. But it's still a nice option to have if you don't like to blast your eyes with just pure white light, especially when you're using the device at night. Now I'm gonna disable it because I think it looks a little bit better on the camera. Okay, so there we go. Now the next thing I'm gonna go into is the adaptive sound, which this one is a little bit hard to describe. I guess you probably will have better description just by using it. But basically, when you go into the settings and under sound and vibrations, if you scroll down to advanced sound settings, you will find also sound quality and effects, and here we have adapt sound. Now this basically creates an equalizer specifically tailored to your hearing if you choose to go with that route, or you can just choose one of the presets. So you have age ranges, so you have under 30, 30 to 60, and 60 and over. Now for me, the 30 or under 30 is almost similar to what I would normally create, so that's nice. But your case might be a little bit different. Your hearing is probably also different than mine, so your results may vary. But basically, if you want to create your own, which I highly advise on doing so, not taking the, if you choose one of these, it's just kind of like generically set up. While if you go through a setup of it, which the setup will look something like that. I'm just gonna plug in the headphones, otherwise I can't actually start it. So let me just plug that in here. And I'm gonna set it on the side, and you will see, oh, there we go, it actually goes into side view. So you can see right now it's a flat one, and it asks you, can you hear the beep? Now whichever one you choose, it only plays the beep on one ear or the other. And before you actually begin this, you want to be in a really quiet room so you can hear it, because the beeps are really quiet. So they are specifically designed to test how well you can hear. So you either select yes or no, and depending on what you select, it will adjust the equalizer to if you can hear it or not. So as long as, for instance, I say no, you can see that it was on the right ear and it dropped right there because I couldn't hear it. So then, for instance, it asks here if I can hear it. Just select, for instance, yes, and it goes up in the low tones. So it then creates this like, I'm just gonna create one randomly, but you can see it is a little bit longer. So it creates this weird equalizer specifically designed for your hearing, and tries to equalize wherever you have, for instance, you don't hear something, it fills up the gap with additional sound, so you would actually be able to hear it better. At least that's I think how it works. But hands down, in my opinion, this is better than the default setting of the device. So just tap on cancel, and I'm gonna unplug it. Okay. So moving on, we're gonna go into the other display, or not other setting associated with the sound, and it's just the separate app sounds. Now what this allows you to do is lock an app into playing a sound from a specific sound source. So if you want, for instance, to YouTube only play music through your headphones, you can choose to do so. So if we go into here, you want to turn it on, select, and number one, it gives you all the options of apps that you can choose from. So like I said, we're going to choose YouTube as an example, and you want to go back, not to recent, but back. There we go. And now you have an option to what you want the YouTube to be played through. So you have the phone option or Bluetooth device. So for instance, we can choose Bluetooth device. And now whenever you have your Bluetooth headphones connected or not, your media, or well, YouTube in this case, will always try to play only through the Bluetooth device. So if it's there, you will hear it. If it's not, you will not hear it at all, because the phone is strictly directing it through Bluetooth. So just a nice option of controlling sound, and if you don't want to blast sometimes music or some sounds from YouTube without realizing that, for instance, you didn't connect your headphones, which for instance, in the public transportation, I don't really like that when that happens sometimes, and it does happen to me sometimes when just the headphones don't want to connect, and you, for instance, I didn't realize it and it just starts playing music. Yeah. So moving on, we're gonna go into the always on display, and this is a fairly simple one. Not sure, see if it's on by default. It looks like it's not. So this one allows you to just set a always on display, which will show you some information about, for instance, time and notifications, stuff like that, while the device is locked. And to get into it, we want to go into the main settings and then to the lock screen right here, and you'll have this lock always on display. So check that on, tap to show, and when you tap on it, it goes into the settings. And here you have a couple options. So you have tap to show right now. So once it's enabled, what it means is you do this and it shows you the always on display. Now I think it disappears after a couple seconds. Well, you can see, but you can see also what kind of information it provides. So yeah, and now if you go into here, you can always change it to show always, which will be shown always. So once you lock the device, it will turn on automatically and never disappear. Also keep in mind that enabling this will drain your battery. So it maybe not as quick as normally the display when it's fully on, but still it will contribute to your device being drained out of battery a little bit quicker than it would be without this setting. And then you can also set it up to have a schedule. So this will only turn on at a specific time of your choice, which would probably be the optimal option if you want to have it, for instance, at work, just so you can have a brief glance on your device if you get something without actually having to pick it up. And also once you're out, you don't actually have to worry about the battery being drained constantly because you have a specific schedule set for it. And then you also have a couple additional things like show music information, which you can check that on or off depending on how you like it. So moving on, we're gonna go into a fairly simple tweak, but in my opinion, it's one of the must ones. And when you put in a password normally in your device, before we start, it will show you whatever the letter you have pressed. So let's just start typing. You can always see the latest letter I have pressed, and if someone is quick, they can basically gather your entire password that is being neatly provided in a sequence right on the top. Now I'm not the greatest fan of that. I honestly hate it. So there is a way for it to be changed. So again, you would go into your settings, and then we want to go into biometrics and security. And let's scroll down to, where is it? Other security settings, there we go. And from here we should find, there it is at the top, make password visible. Now kind of misleading setting if you're trying to search for it, considering it does, it's enabled, so that's not very nice. It seems like they're trying to hide it from being found. So just disable that, and Now if we go back to actually typing a password, you will see that there is no more a letter visible that you're pressing. The only one that is, well, semi-visible is the highlight under the letter that you are pressing on the keyboard, which you can barely see from underneath my finger. So that is, in my opinion, way better than it normally is. Okay, so moving on, we're going to go into the smart pop-up view, and this one is also fairly simple. It allows you to set specific apps to show up in a pop-up view if you try to interact with them. So if you get a message, you can actually tap on the message and it will open up a small window over the thing that you're doing right now to show you basically, or allow you to respond. And I'm gonna first go into how to enabling it, and then I'm gonna actually show it how it looks like, because I'll have to show it through actually manually enabling it. So to enable it, we want to go into advanced features. So let's go back to the main settings page right here, and then advanced is somewhere on the bottom. There we go. Advanced features right here, and at the top you will have smart pop-up view. And there we go. Those are all the apps that can enable, at least at this moment, to be in smart pop-up view. So for instance, if you want to have messages in smart pop-up view, you can just tap on that, and other messaging apps will be probably also good for this. And this is just as an example. So once you have it enabled, if someone messages you, then you can interact with it and it will open it up in this kind of view. So it will look like this, from where you can actually resize it, make it smaller, and have anything else open over it and interact. You can interact with this on the go, so you can type something and have anything else in the back working just fine. And also you can minimize it if you wish to. Where is it? Alright, it's minimized into an app head like so, which is also fairly nice. You can drag it around and then tap on it to start interacting with it again. So a fairly nice thing to have, and like I said, it works once you start interacting with the notification. And the second thing that I would also go into, let's just close it, is the smart pop-up view that you can enable yourself. So this works for anything. So for instance, you can just tap on the icon in recent and you'll have the option right here, smart pop-up view. And when you tap on it, it opens it up in this kind of view. Now this also works with YouTube if you're just wondering. So you can play YouTube videos while doing other stuff as well and just completely move it almost completely out of the way. So it's a fairly nice thing. And now I'm gonna go into another option which I fairly like to do, which is the reduced animations. Now I believe Samsung comes with its own, which is, well, nothing really mind-blowing. Honestly, I can't really tell the difference if it's shorter or not. So I'm honestly gonna completely skip that option and go straight for the developer options for animations. And you would first have to enable the developer options, which you would do going through settings and then about phone. And from here we want to go into software information and find build number right here. Tap on it 7 times until you see the message over there. You are now a developer. And if you go back, you should see a new option, developer options, right as the last entry in your main settings page. And from here, let's just scroll down. I think I might have passed it or not. Where is it? There we go. So you have window animation scale, transition animation scale, and animation duration scale. Now each one of them is set to 1. And to make it shorter, you want to tap on it and just, for instance, set it to half speed. So it will be twice as fast as it was a moment ago. And yeah, now if you want to go a little bit more nuts, you can actually set it up to be completely off, and that will just remove the animation. So if you close something, it will just pop out of existence or pop into existence, depending what you choose. Now it might be a little bit jarring, so personally I would advise on going with half speed. This is best of both worlds. It's really quick, and yet it still has animations, so it doesn't look so jarring when animations just literally disappear instantaneously from your screen. Just tap on close, and now if you go back, you can see that everything is way quicker and like opening. So all the animation of zooming in, out, sliding, and stuff like that is now twice as fast as it was previously. Okay, so moving on, I'm gonna go into a option called, where is it? I'm pretty sure it should be somewhere here. There it is, a game launcher. So if you play games on your device, then you probably will know that whenever you go into your recent or home screen, you will have them all right here, along with all the other apps. Now, personally, I do play sometimes, I unironically, mobile games, just when I'm trying to kill time. But I don't like to have them actually visible everywhere. So this is a really nice option. Basically, when you go into the game launcher, let me stop on I agree. Now I don't really have any way of showing it right now. But when you launch it for the first time, you will get this pop-up. So hide games on your home screen and app screen. And you can just choose to hide. This you can disregard, the app will be accessible in your app drawer anyway. So let's just stop and cancel. And now if you have any apps, they will be instantly placed right here. So you can pull this up and you'll have all the games that you have installed on your device, but they will not be visible from either the home screen nor the app tray. So they will be completely removed from here and only accessible through the game launcher. And also in the game launcher, you have additional options. So if you go into the settings, you can choose how the game launcher affects the phone itself. So you can have you can boost the device on how it performs, also remove notifications and stuff like that. So just a nice way of improving the gaming experience on the device. And this would conclude all the tweaks and tricks that I wanted to share. And if you found any of them helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.